Hello my materialistic minions, it's me Beau. Today I am reviewing how I fold socks. No, I'm not doing that. Which, by the way, you're not supposed to fold socks like this, as indicated by this book, The Life-Changing Arts Magic, whatever you want to call it. It's the Japanese art of decluttering and tidiness. Now, I don't need to read a book on tidiness and organizing. I'll just go to Home Depot and I'll get a big plastic bin and I'll make it do. I live in a fairly clean house. We sweep every day. But no, guys, this is a life-changing book and you need to read it, or in this case, I actually listened to it. It's technically supposed to take you about 4 hours to listen to, but I would highly recommend that you listen to it on 1.25 speed. So basically speed it up just slightly because the narrator will drive you absolutely crazy. It's almost as if she's talking through a room of molasses. And a lot of things she says in kind of a really bored tone. So download the Overdrive app if you don't have it. If you're in the United States, most likely you'll be able to download the audiobook for free or like through the library system itself. Although it is reasonably priced here on Amazon.com, and more power to you if you want to give the author some money. But anyway, I'm not here to tell you how to acquire this book. I'm just here to tell you a few of my opinions and takeaways on this book on tidiness. The first takeaway is tidiness is a skill that is learned. I never really realized that you know, this isn't something that is passed down to me by my mom. It's like cooking or sewing. You learn how to declutter your house. And there are a lot of practical techniques in this book that really equip you with the tools of how to tidy. It's a learned skill. It doesn't come naturally. So breaking down that barrier and being aware of that kind of sets you up for success as you continue on in this book. The two big things that you need to know when it comes to tidying is either get rid of it or put it away and organize it. That's all you need to do. It's a very, very simple process. But how you tackle each one of those things is very interesting. The author definitely recommends that you start with purging, basically throwing everything, well, not throwing everything away, but getting rid of things before you go about organizing. Because if you try to organize, you're just gonna hide things. But she says, focus first on getting rid of things. And one factor on how to determine whether or not to get rid of something is hold it in your hand and ask yourself, does this bring me joy? Now, the term joy itself, I kind of have an issue with because being a crazy Jesus-loving Christian, I interpret joy as deep-seated contentment. Not happiness, not infatuation, but joy. And that's one of the weird things that you're going to get out of this book is there's a lot of Eastern mysticism, a lot of feng shui type odd things where they basically are kind of superstitious towards objects. Like these objects themselves almost have a personality of their own. So throughout this book, you're probably going to get a good laugh when she says, how dare you get that change and those little pennies and quarters and nickels and they're just buried there in the back of your drawer. You're doing them a disservice. They don't have feelings. Now, if you're really that superstitious about material objects, and she says all throughout the book that she talks to the things and she thanks them and she strokes them and she pets them and says, thank you for serving me today. Now, I understand the principle behind that. Basically, you need to ascribe intentionality to these objects, because if you don't, if you just go about life not being intentional with the things, you're just going to forget about them, and that leads to clutter. The step beyond that is, of course, actually considering them as like life forces. It's kind of ridiculous from a Christian perspective. So have your guard up about that. It's not a make or break thing. Totally still worth the read or the listen to this book, but you're gonna have a nice laugh about that. I learned how to fold clothes, socks. It's fascinating. I always thought I knew how to learn. I knew how to fold t-shirts and stuff. My wife worked at Target. I know how to do this. You don't go by stacks, you go vertically. How to store things vertically. Absolutely brilliant. And one of the other last huge takeaways is do it all at once. Don't make it a chore or even a lifestyle, which is very refreshing. I thought for sure with her OCD type nature, she was gonna be like, you need to tidy every single day of your life. No, as a matter of fact, towards the end of the book, she says, don't make this a thing that you have to do every single day. Do a marathon. She says this can take upwards of 6 months, but just attack it, which I love that philosophy. When it comes to debt, that's a very Dave Ramsey type thing, just attack it. Kind of weird how she goes about counting all the things. You could tell there is kind of some OCD type stuff with the author. Like for example, she's like, I threw away 30 garbage bags, or we threw away or gave away 200 books. And I know she has to find some evidence, so she has to count her successes, but it gets a little wearisome when she's like, that's like her little badge of honor is one client threw away 50 garbage bags. And you're just like, okay, I get it, it works. But anyway, I don't say that to throw stones at her, like how dare she be so organized. I have in some areas of my life a little OCD nature about me, and that's okay. But point being is you as an audience member don't feel obligated to replicate some of her obsessions. The author does this for a living, and that's okay, she's really good at it. But you can pretty much do a marathon, set it, and not forget it, not set and forget, but continue that intentionality where to the point where it's not actually a chore. Everyone needs to listen to this or read it. Highly, highly recommended. One of the most life-changing books, honestly, I have ever encountered. And my name is Beau. I hope that this small little expose, few thoughts, hints, tips, tricks, and opinions on this book is helpful in determining whether or not you should jump in with both feet. That's it. My name is Beau. Off I go to try to fold my socks down.